Hello, friends. This is me again, coming to you from here. I hope you all are doing well. I come to you with a heart full of joy and love. And this is to treat the law of assumption. It's a topic I treated recently, and I want to go back to it. The law of assumption. This law of nature is so difficult to obey, even if one understands it. And as hard as it appears to our minds to fully carry out this state of being, the good news is that it is actually a simple thing to do. And the question is, what is the meaning of this law? The law of assumption means, in my little understanding, the law of fate. Believing that we have received the fulfillment of what is yet to be received faithfully. When the human mind receives a thought, a desire is activated. And this desire must then have an intention and the faith that will sustain it till its realization. Now, the fulfillment of such a desire depends not wholly on the intention, but partly on this law of assumption, what I call the law of fate. The law of desiring a thing and assuming deeply in our minds that it is already fulfilled. Feeling the way we would normally feel had it already been fulfilled, without wavering, no matter what circumstances we presently experience in our lives. Isn't it beautiful, my lovely friends? In this simplicity lies the key to what we may ordinarily understand as self-fulfillment. That joy that transcends all human understanding. The explanation of this, my understanding of this law in its simplicity, is also very difficult to attain, very difficult to achieve, I can assure you. Unfortunately, our failures in obedience to this law concerning our desires and fulfilling them is called sin in the real sense of it, in my own opinion. Contrary to how religious people understand and present it to us. Now, let's make the connection. Like I discussed before in some of my articles and podcasts, the human mind is the dwelling place of the life force called the Creator. God, nature, universe, just like in our ancient Igbo language, we call him Chuku. I mean, whatever suits your imagination of him, you can call him. Therefore, your mind, to me, is the garden of the Creator, the garden of God, where you receive thoughts directly from the Father that is in you. Meaning, that life force which created through our minds everything we physically see and sustains everything in existence. That life force is in us, and it is the reason why we think and make imaginations and they come to reality. Our thoughts then become our imagination, which is another way I define God now. This imagination impregnates ideas and desires in our minds. And so, failure in assuming and sustaining the assumption of that state of the wish fulfilled till its successful realization is what I now understand as sin. The above description, the just mentioned description of sin is only on the surface, actually. Only on the surface. For the sake of our mutual understanding of this discussion and considering our different perceptions of reality, I suggest we keep that away from the discussion for now. Let us not dig into the other sinful crimes against the necessary balance of good and bad in support, of course, of the natural law of the opposites. Let us leave it for another day. In conclusion, brothers and sisters and friends, one of the conclusions and the main point or intention of this discussion is to suggest to us what many people, and now myself, understand as the ultimate sin in life. This is far above the normal failures in our everyday lives as human beings, critically far above our everyday lives, human understanding and behaviors. Therefore, I come to what I call now the real deal. The real deal is when we disobey this law of assumption, even as we make our desires. This obedience to this law indicates that we are not able to achieve the purposes of our lives, and it has consequences. All it means, consequently, it generally means that all the talents we individually received that are for the purpose of serving others faithfully would have gone probably till another lifetime. For how long, how many lifetimes do we have to live before we understand that the God we search in the skies, in the seas, in everything else, though He is in all those things, but principally He is the reason why we breathe and live. He is in us. So it is very, very pertinent and important that we use these talents that we have received to serve others. That is the only purpose in the thought of creation for the creation of the man that He has given dominion over all creatures. Therefore, sin or failure in its complexity means to miss the mark. The mark of not being that which we have come to this third-dimensional world of matter to render to humanity. That is the crime. Our attainment of this very consciousness and its applications in our minds is what determines our successes and failures in life. This is the truth, in my own understanding and opinion. If we ask successful people who are really happy with life, those who are happy in whatever services they are rendering to the world, they may affirm to this my assertion. Interestingly, success in this case is not material, although its fruits are seen in our material acquisitions, in our cars, in our houses, in our muscles, in our clothing, in everything else that aid the comfort of the human being. Success in this case is when we attain that state of loving others as ourselves above human reason and above conditions. This is because it is the only thing that can bring us into equivalence of form with nature. This is also because it helps to reduce the burden of anguish in human minds, which disrupts the balance of the necessary peace we must have in our world to move away from this level of existence to a more spiritual one where we will have peace in our hearts and in the world. Obey the law of assumption or of faith concerning your desires, because your desires are supposed to be the creative instrument we have to create the earth and explore and dominate it. So faith and the law of assumption are one. It means that we must use these desires and the faiths, of course good ones. We must use these gifts, whatever gift it is that we have received, to serve others faithfully, thereby showing the grace of God, the Creator, in us, in all of its various forms. Remember, great friends, that the Creator is a compound unity of one made up of others. This definition, therefore, gives credence to everything we have said before now. The Creator is revealed in the love and connections we collectively share with others, irrespective of human reasons. And by human reasons, I mean irrespective of our ego, which is the will and the vessel to receive, from which and for which we were originally made. The fear of missing the mark is what is driving my personal intention, and the greatest passion I have is that of dissemination of my understanding of the true meaning of life to others with love from my heart. Because when I love you, it means I love myself. If I love the whole world, it means I have 7.8 billion loves coming back to me. I say this because I was a victim of the consequences of this natural rule and suffered psychologically for such a long time until I came to this understanding and perception of the true meaning of life, in my own opinion and in my own understanding, recently. Therefore, I will conclude that our thoughts create our realities, and whatever situation we find ourselves in this world is a reflection of the state of our insights, of our imaginations and awareness of ourselves. We will come back to this topic. I'll leave you with this one, and I hope that it makes a little sense to you. Even if it doesn't, I hope that somehow, somewhere, it influences someone to awaken to this, to know that love is the only way we can heal the wounds of the earth and the wounds of all the other creatures in all the other degrees of existence. Because our success on the earth is interrelated to their goodness. Their survival is our survival. Your imagination is the God and the Spirit of God in you, and this is the right you have received to create your world. And these component, different worlds make up the world, and this unity of one made up of others is the essence and the purpose of the human society. I'll come back to you. This is Mike Mbadiwe of the Life Goal Solutions, coming to you from here. I leave you with a prayer. May the Lord, the Creator, who sustain us all till I come back to you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, good night, depending on your time zone on this planet. This is Mike. Bye, friends. From my heart, I say I love you all. Bye, friends.